Alright folks, the results are in. I've got them right here. My panel of esteemed judges has voted on what they believe to be the winners and losers of the September Nintendo Direct. Now it's worth noting that not everything from the Direct is contained within this folder, only the things that left the largest impact on the judges. Let's get things started with our first winner. Our first winner is Mario vs. Donkey Kong. When the rumors of a new Donkey Kong game being in development were swirling around, I don't think this is what people were expecting. For that reason, some people might find this to be a bit disappointing, and to be honest, if you're the kind of person who really gets hung up on these rumors and these leaks, then aren't you kind of always setting yourself up for disappointment? Because if whatever comes out isn't exactly what you were expecting, then that's an automatic disappointment, right? May as well just roll with the flow. Sure, it may not be a 3D Donkey Kong or a new Donkey Kong Country game, but it does look pretty cool. The original game back on the Game Boy Advance was a ton of fun, and to see that same classic puzzle-style strategy gameplay return with a new coat of paint is honestly a lot of fun. Not to mention, you can actually play this one co-op, so that's a nice way to start things off. Our first loser is unfortunately the Spy Family game, Spy Anya Operation Memories. Now look, I'm a proud anime watcher. I've watched Spy Family. It is an amazing anime. It's a perfect slice of life, packed with charm and humor, and I'd recommend it to anybody who watches anime. But I'm a little skeptical about their ability to adapt it as a video game. How do you successfully take a slice of life anime like Spy Family and make it into an entertaining game? I'm just not sure. Most anime games are fighting games, and even though I love anime, I'm man enough to admit that most of those games are trash, with a few exceptions. Considering the fact that anime games somehow find a way to make an inherently entertaining genre like a fighting game into a game that you don't really want to pick up, kinda worries me here. On the one hand, this could be a really unique anime game that kind of makes a splash and breaks the spell of terrible anime games. But on the other hand, it might just be terrible. I don't know. Speaking of slice of life games, we're getting a popular old DS title back. Also, its sequel, which was previously unreleased in America. I'll be honest with you, I was completely unaware of this game's existence prior to watching the Direct. But the reason I have this here as a winner is because the trailer alone kind of made me want to play it. On top of that, the fact that the sequel is previously unreleased in America kind of entices me to want to try it out. Why did it never come out here? Was the DS game a flop? I have no idea. But to see such an obscure game just getting pulled from the depths of history and sent back out into the world is pretty cool, and is part of the reason why I want to try it out. Our next loser is the Detective Pikachu game. Now look, I love Pokemon. I happily play the mainline games every time they come out, even if the graphics are complete garbage. But here's the thing, I feel like the spin-offs are so saturated that I just couldn't care less about them. There's just too many, and they usually aren't even that good in my opinion. Is Detective Pikachu gonna be a good game? In all likelihood, yes, and I really hope it is for everyone who decides to play it. But the problem here speaks to a larger issue with the Pokemon franchise, in that there's just way too many spin-offs that they're just starting to get blended together in my brain. And there's so many that every time I see a trailer from one in a Nintendo Direct, it's just really hard for me to get excited for it because it's just become sort of an expectation. Does that make sense? Our next winner is Princess Peach Showtime. When they revealed this game with the last Direct, it was a bit too early to tell whether it was something to be excited about, but this time they showed us the right stuff. It's still not totally clear what the full gameplay loop will look like, but from what they showed us, it seems like there's gonna be a wide variety thanks to these different transformations. They showed off different stage plays, each of which we have to go and save, and each of which has a different version of Peach to save the day. We have Sword Fighter Peach, Detective Peach, Baking Peach, Kung Fu Peach, and I would imagine that these different transformations will actually lend themselves to a bunch of different gameplay mechanics that keep the experience fresh and probably unique as compared to most of the other AAA Nintendo titles we've been getting lately. So on that note, I'm looking forward to this game, and I really hope you guys are too. Our next loser is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Look, I'm a big Luigi's Mansion fan, but they didn't do what they needed to do with this game to up the excitement. It seems like it really is just an HD port, and that's fine. But the problem is, considering the fact that this is the least exciting of the Luigi's Mansion games, I think that this game needed a little more than just an HD port to kind of up that excitement level. Compare it side by side with Luigi's Mansion 3, which is one of the best looking games on the Switch, and your hype levels will immediately drop off. Great franchise, but this outing isn't quite getting the love it deserves to make a splash. Our next winner is the Tomb Raider Trilogy coming to Nintendo Switch. I don't don't have a ton to say about Tomb Raider. It's obviously a classic, tried and true franchise that everyone should play at some point, and it's cool that we're gonna have it handheld now. But what stood out to me as cool about this particular trailer is the fact that you can toggle back and forth between the original graphics and the brand new graphics. That's neat. That's a feature that I'd love to see in some other future remasters of maybe some other games. Our next loser is F-Zero 99. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and just say that I don't think this is what F-Zero fans have had in mind all these years, as they've been asking for a new game. I wouldn't chalk this up as being a complete and total loss. This will probably be a fun game. A 99-person race on a slick-looking classic F-Zero engine is bound to be a fun time, but it just begs the question of when will we ever get an actual new addition to the franchise? And I mean, if I know. Our next winner is WarioWare Move It. I thought this was a win in the last Direct, and it's building on its hype here for lovers of motion controls. Outside of it just being generally exciting to have a second, unexpected WarioWare game coming to Switch, it's kind of hilarious what they're having us do here. This trailer shows someone pretending to be a duck to catch fish, and then someone else looking absolutely constipated pretending to lay an egg. And maybe I'm a complete freak. Maybe this game is gonna be absolutely terrible. Maybe this trailer isn't worth getting excited over. But when I look at this trailer, I see what could be a pretty exciting party game. And honestly, I'm looking forward to picking it up and laying some eggs with my boys. Our next loser is Trombone Champ. Okay, nobody asked for this game. And the only way I can think of to describe it is that it sounds sort of like my 3rd grade concert, when my instructor told me, I played the trumpet at the time, that I wasn't good enough to actually play in front of people. So when it came time for the show, she told me to just pretend to press the buttons, but not actually blow into the horn. So of course I didn't listen, and I blew into the horn, and I pretty much ended up like horrifying everybody there that day with what sounded like probably a dying whale in the middle of the concert. And that's what this game sounds like to me. You know, usually these games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, they kind of make you feel cool. When you're playing the game, you just press the buttons and the music coming out of the screen sounds really cool. It's like you become a rock star. You feel really good at what you're doing. But this, on the other hand, I mean, what in the world is going on here? Our next winner is Dave the Diver. Very seldom do trailers manage to convince me to buy a game I've literally never heard of before, but damn it, Dave the Diver did it. This is such a cool concept. Getting to dive and collect fish during the day in what look to be dangerous environments, and then serving them in your sushi shop at night. This is so unique, and it's like Echo the Dolphin meets Overcooked, all in the same game. And there's a demo. I'm gonna get this game. Day one. Day one, baby. Our next loser is sort of a compilation of games, and I'm calling it the generic RPG overload. And look, I am by no means saying that these games look bad. In fact, I'm sure I'll play and love some of these. But the problem with showcasing so many similar looking RPGs in a marketing event like this alongside each other is that they all just sort of start to blend together, and then none of them really stick out. And I'm sorry to those of you who are really excited about these games. You know, I'm sure they're gonna be fun. Some of them look really good. But as a cohort, I just feel like when it comes to a Nintendo Direct, they lack some of the punch that some of these other titles are able to give us. And this is coming from someone who loves RPGs. I'm actually playing Sea of Stars right now, and it is a lot of fun, let me tell you. Actually, if you haven't played that game yet, once you're done watching this video, do yourself a favor and just go download that game. You will not regret it. Good game. Our next winner is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 6. Those of you who watch my other videos know, as soon as this DLC drops, we are diving right on in. But this trailer had some cool reveals that we gotta talk about right now. Despite there being only 2 character selection slots left on the select screen, we actually got 4 new characters. Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, thank God, Pauline, and Peachette. Ever since Wave 5 dropped, the whole debate online has been whether we're gonna get Diddy Kong or Funky Kong. Not very many people thought we were actually gonna get both because everyone thought we were gonna get Pauline. But here we are. Nintendo just said, hey, sure, you can have both. On top of that, Daisy's Circuit is an amazing Wii track, and I can't wait to soak in those golden hour vibes once again. Between this and Mario Bros. Wonder, Daisy is having a huge year. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my Wave 6 ranking, because that is gonna be a fun time. Our next loser is the Among Us DLC, this fungus map. Frankly, I'm just wondering if people still play Among Us enough to justify letting it take up a slot in a Nintendo Direct for a free DLC announcement. Yeah, sure, maybe the fungus rhyme was cool, but the way they positioned this within the Direct kinda like took the wind out of the sails just as the ship was starting to speed up a little bit. One minute we're talking Mario Kart and the next we're talking about Among Us, and honestly, who still cares about Among Us? Not me. And our last winner is, of course, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. My lord! I literally almost cried when I saw this pop up. This is one of my favorite games of all time, and honestly, to see it getting remastered is a dream come true. I mean, like, come on, like who thought this was gonna happen? There are so many reasons to be excited about this game coming back, and not the least of which is the fact that GameCube prices are absolutely absurd right now. This game that I'm holding in my hand right now, it's a complete copy with the manual and everything. This would run you upwards of $120 on the secondary market, and that is absolutely ridiculous. Sure, you could probably download an emulator if you really want to, but not everybody wants to, and not everybody has the know-how on how to do that. This game has just been inaccessible for so long, and now with its fresh, new, amazing-looking coat of paint, it's gonna be accessible to an entire new generation of gamers. This game that I literally grew up on, it was such a huge part of my childhood, is now gonna be able to get experienced by so many more people, and that is just awesome to me. Watch them just like completely butcher it. What did you think of the Direct? Let me know in the comments below who you thought the winners and losers were, and if whether or not you agree with what I said. And yes, I'm fully aware that my copy of Paper Mario just lost about half of its value. You really don't need to rub it in.